The locations, the design, the materials used, all the way down to the latest details, are few of many things that we focused on when we envisioned the airport residency. As proud innovators of community estates, the airport residency in Old Yundum, a project by Swami India International, offers unique gated community with 3 and 4-bedroom villas and duplexes. Just 5 minutes away from the Banjul International Airport. Luxury, convenience, and accessibility are some of the reasons you should consider this great housing opportunity. With a clubhouse, a playground, access roads, and parking facilities available for your dream home or a valuable investment, you will find all you need at Airport Residency here in Old Yundum.
Hello, and I welcome you to another edition of GUNJURBIZ on Gunjur Online TV. I am your host, Abubakar Jame. Today we're having an exciting news, an exciting topics to talk about, and we are thrilled to be back on air to be able to share with you about business tips, to talk to business leaders, opinion leaders in our business industry. It is time to recoup and come back to basics, to things that really matters to our people back home and across the world. And I'm thrilled to announce my guest today is the managing director and the founder of Global Properties, Mr. Saul Frazer. Mr. Saul, welcome to GUNJURBIZ. If you hear us, yep. All right. Can you hear us, Mr. Saul?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you. And we apologize for the late start of the program. This was supposed to be an hour ago, but due to some changes in time, we weren't able to bring that. But all the same, we thank you so much for considering to really be on this show. Mr. Fraser is the founder of Global Properties. He founded Global Properties 2007, and he is a motivation speaker, public speaker, investor, a mentor to so many young people out there. And this is just a fitting invite to have him and to talk about the impact of real estate investments in the Gambia in particular, but across the world, or specifically in Africa. So you don't need no introduction, for sure. We really wanted to go at it right away. My first question to you would be, what motivates you to get into real estate at a time when not many people were thinking about it? Land was available, not as scarce as it is today. but not many people were really investing in real estate. What really motivated you to be an investor in real estate agent, I mean, industry?
Well, thank you, thank you. The one of the reasons, there were many factors that contributed to me starting real estate company. But you know how they say that great businesses solve problems. I was out there solving my own problem. You know, I went through the same thing that a lot of people are going through or have gone through, whereby you work hard in Europe and send your money back home for somebody to provide a piece of land for you or a house to develop, for that matter. Then you came back and you were in, you know, shock and you lost all your money. I It happened to me as well. I sent money to relative and it came back, and obviously money was gone and there was nothing to show for. I got devastated, frustrated, and I felt that people in the diaspora, knowing that how hard they work, you know, how difficult jobs they have to go through to raise the money that they send back home, shouldn't have to go through what I went through. And I decided that let me set up an institution where people can buy freely, comfortably, you know, and securely without having to go through a third party. And that's how it all started. And so far, it's been great, and we're happy to have served over 5,000 people across both Gambia, Senegal, and Ghana, and we're averaging roughly about one property per day. So I think that's a great achievement, if you ask me, because when I started 14 years ago, I didn't expect it to grow this big and, you know, this fast within this period of time.
So that is really amazing. Now serving over 5,000 people, not only a presence in the Gambia, but in Senegal, which is considered a bigger market, and even a bigger market in the case of Ghana. I worked in the streets of Accra, and I've seen how crowded it is, how expensive it is to own
Yeah.
a real estate or a property in those areas. The penetration, how hard that was, it's just probably something that I'm sure we can have time to talk about. But that also tells your braveness on where your target is, where what impact you want to make, not just in Gambia, but also across Africa, and eventually maybe other countries will follow. Just looking at your background with a degree in international business and a career in a banking sector, specific financial services industry, which back then was looking as the most lucrative job to ever get. Like whoever wants to leave tires and just go to the farms and make sure you get all these, acquire all these learns and get a little bit dirty to provide stuff for people, and that is exceptional. What really set you off? When what was your biggest day to say, oh, this was an investment worth going? Like, I'm sure at some point you're like, oh, did I? Why did I have to leave the industry for a newer industry to create something that is bigger than yourself?
Well, you know, in one of the videos I do on YouTube, I talked about research and how important research is in everything that you do. By the time I was coming home, I haven't been in the country for close to 20 years, as in lived in the country. I was obviously coming back and forth on holidays,
Yeah.
but you don't get to learn a lot, you know, when you're on holiday. I I decided that I wanted to work in a place where I could quickly get information about the country, get a quick education of what industry was thriving, who was who, and what was basically making Gambia thick. And the best place to be then was working at the bank. The plan was to work there for a year or two, you know, build up a database of clientele, and then obviously move on to other things. But luckily
So
for me, it took only
that was
six
the
months to
initial
realize that there
plan.
was,
No, I was
yes,
saying that
the
was the
initial plan
initial
was just to
plan,
come.
just to be able to start somewhere, because I know the banking industry, you get to know which businesses are more profitable and how things are really going with everything in the industry.
Exactly. Exactly, exactly. The banking industry, working there gives you a snapshot of what is happening in the country, you know, who's thriving, who's not, what is what.
And do you think specifically there are things that really
to
helped you because of your background in the financial services industry that really set you off on a good path to say that, okay, I think I know the industry a little bit enough to know what to avoid and what not to avoid, and opportunities to really grab out there?
it certainly did. When you're in the bank and you write credits for customers who wants to borrow money, you also get to learn about, what to look for, what not to look for, what would you consider to be a profitable project. So a combination of all those things helped later on, when I was starting my business. But the banking sector also gave me valuable information about, finances and how to manage budgets and the like. So it was just meant to be, I guess. And during that time, we had a great MD, who taught us a lot about banking and finance, for that matter. But what I enjoyed the most working in the bank was solving problems, helping business owners to secure finance, helping them to find, conventional and unconventional way of making their businesses grow. Because one of my backgrounds was also business development whilst I was in the UK. I'm a salesman by profession. That's what I studied. I did a degree in international business and marketing, but I specialized in marketing. So a combination of all those things led me to realize that there was a huge potential in the real estate market when I came. Like I said, the combination of the story of losing money and then also seeing that there was a huge gap in the property market in the Gambia. During that time, people wouldn't consider buying a house at the age of 20, 25. They would start thinking about it at the age of maybe 40, 45. And I thought that was wrong because real estate being one of the most lucrative investments is something that you should start at a very early stage. So if you go into it at the age of, let's say, 20 and then 25, start securing a land. And then by the age of 25, 30, you now have a piece of land, then you can take it to the bank with your title deed, secure financing, and then use that to build your house. And then you can become independent in that way. You can later on use this house to release equity and then start your own business. So I was thinking about how to impact and change the situation of some of our people that were going through some difficulties in the Gambia.
You mentioned about sales. I was a salesperson before, and I watched. I was just watching one of your videos an hour ago when you talked about how important sales is, how people should
In
respect them, how companies are thriving because of salespeople, even in the situational, situations where we are facing crisis. Most of the companies, or every company, relies on salespeople to bring in the money, and
right.
I think it is rewarding, but I also think a lot of people need to take careers in sales. Because if you look at the Saul Frasers of the world, you look at the Mark Cubans of the world, most of the successful business people were once, picking up newspapers to go on the streets and sell them. Like they were taking bit and pieces to go and sell them. How do you think this has impacted the business successes and how our younger generation can really learn from some of those things, the qualities that they learn from it? Like I remember sometimes people will be, on their feet for hours and hours and hours. I once was talking to Mr. Dambell, DBC's the founder, how he would just go and try to sell something he doesn't make no sales. And you see people that being involved directly in sales becoming successful people. Do you think there are things that you learn along the way if you are a salesperson that is inculcated in you in a way that it becomes a second nature that helps in the business success in whatever business you end up doing? And what would be some of those qualities that you
Yes,
feel
because
somebody learns from those?
okay, first of all, we have to agree that nothing happens unless a sale takes place.
Right.
Because the moment a sales take place, then economic activities it's in motion, The buyers and the sellers will start using the money for things that will also generate activities throughout the economy. When you're in sales, you get to learn so many lessons. Sitting here, I'm thinking about during the time I was in the UK studying, I had a part-time job working for an electric company. And my role was to go out there and get people to switch from one supplier to another supplier. And then we'll cover a street, you know, so
Yeah.
those jobs. So you'll walk from like hours knocking doors, you know, some will slam the doors at you, some will open for you, and
Yeah.
some will talk to you and waste your time without giving you the sales. But then you learn key lessons, you know, one, not to give up, because you know that if you have to knock 10 doors, they're going to be 2 or 3 sales that you're going to make, you know. So you learn to master your average and know exactly who to concentrate on and who not to concentrate on. So all
Right.
these things sets you up for when you're in business as well, so that you don't waste your time. You know exactly what to concentrate on and what not to concentrate on. So sales, it's important, because if you can't sell, if you can't communicate, if you can't put your information out there, how will people find you or talk to you or give you what you need for the business to propel? So selling is important. To master the art of selling, it's key to any business success. So through sales, you learn a lot. And one of the
Yeah.
key things that I learn, and I keep driving on, is that never give up attitude. Because at any point of time, even if you have 10 people telling you no, there's going to be one at the end of the day who's going to tell you yes. You know, so that gives you the motivation to keep pushing and keep adding on your numbers, just to make sure that you find that sale. But if you knock on 2, 3 doors and then they say no and you give up all of a sudden, you know, then you lose. Today, the difference between success and failure is the successful people never give up, and they don't give up early, whereby the people that fail are the ones that give up way too early. So those are the key points I picked up, you know, during my sales career.
You just said it all. I just like you mentioned about when sales happens, economic activity happens. That impacts on the economy. So in this case, say Gambia's economy, it's been a huge contributing factor to the economy. It's one of them will be real estate. But one thing, a few of the things that you mentioned that are very, very critical, I think a lot of salespeople learn is things that you said, not to give up. I'm sure a bunch of young people are watching and they will go and watch this video that think that, okay, if Saul Frazer is successful right now, maybe his family got tons of money. Maybe he got tons of money um, to establish a business. Or for not understanding that sometimes it's not lack of that giving up mentality is what gets you to where you are, right? Just don't look at the finished product and see this is what they've achieved, not really reading their history, not reading their journey, not learning from things, and not giving up. Don't think that you can get into something 1 minute and you become rich. And I think, with, like you mentioned on sales, you would really learn how to communicate effectively. You will learn not to give up. You will learn the art of being patient, and accepting rejections, slamming doors on you,
Yeah,
probably in a cold winter sometimes, that you have to go out there. You don't even know if you can come home with a penny. And I guess one of the most
exactly.
difficult things in sales is to get someone to switch from one provider to another one. If you want me to
Yeah,
buy your
yeah,
pen, you have to tell me why I shouldn't go and buy the pen that I've been buying and I've been satisfied
exactly.
with it. So that makes it hard.
Absolutely.
So that's something I
It
really
should.
wanted to put out
Mm,
there for people to understand that you just really don't see the end product. Read the stories, read a bunch of things, listen to folks like you, and learn from things that you've passed through.
Abubakar, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. My mom, just like any other mom, you know, struggled to raise me up as
Yeah.
a single parent. I used to help her make fish cake and fish pie, and I carry this on my head to go sell it for her. I'll help her go into the market to buy things to prepare. We sold all these things, ice blocks, you name it. So started from a very humble beginning and, walked myself up. My business was started with only $1,500. If I tell people that,
Mm.
they don't believe me. And, it was my $1,500 together with a friend of mine's $5,500. So we made it $3,000. That's what we started our business with. But a couple of months into the business, my friend panicked and he came and asked for his money, which I didn't have at that time. I had to borrow and then return the money back to him. But then I guess it was a blessing in disguise. We have to understand that life isn't easy and it's not fair, and the only way we can do a difference in our life, unfortunately, we have this within us. It's by taking it with both hands and do something about it, by educating ourselves, by learning skills that's going to help us elevate ourselves to higher heights, and be willing to work hard for what you believe in. A lot of people would sit at home and expect that things are going to work out for the better. How? If you have never, if you want something that you never had before, you have to do something that you've never done before, or else you would remain at the same position over and over again. And one of the reasons why I started these motivational videos is simply because I get a lot of requests, a lot of
Mhm.
questions asked, especially when I travel or people come into my offices and asking for help, asking for way out of what their situation is at the moment. And yes, those people would obviously get the first-hand information. But I said, if I go online and publish these talks and videos and how I started, where I started my journey, and just be transparent with everybody, then I can have a greater outreach. In that way, I can help motivate other people to achieve their goals. And so far, it's been a great journey, and I hope I'll be able to inspire more people to achieve their personal goals in life.
Awesome. That's if you've not watched any of his videos or you haven't watched enough of his videos, just follow him, Saul Frazer SF, on YouTube. You would definitely be glad that you really did. And I think using technology to reach out to as many people as possible is the bedrock of everything that we try to do for the communities out there to transfer knowledge from one generation
Absolutely.
to another. So it doesn't really stop on you, and it just
Mhm,
makes life a little easier for everyone, that you don't have
mhm.
time for every single person to sit with you, that there's not enough time for it. And
No,
using all this broadcast, I think is going to help in putting that message across. And I thank you
absolutely.
so much for doing that, especially for our country.
Thank you. Thank you.
That would just transition. I'm sure we're having a couple of questions coming in. We will have that. We will read out some of them. Some of them are kind of relevant to some of the things, especially your Gunju project that we will
Right,
be talking about later in the day. I mean, during the program. So
right.
I would throw that questions at you at some point. There are
Okay,
a bunch of people showing interest and they really wanted to know a little more about that project. So we will I'll get the producers to really shelf that for now, and we will have a follow up on that one. Going down to the
fantastic.
Gambian economy,
Hmm.
the impact of it, we have seen one of this is one of the questions though, how saturated the market is. Some will call it disorganized. When it comes to real estate, everyone can just pick pieces of papers and just go and become a real estate company. What do you think it is there for the lawmakers, if you like, to formulate, to be able to control this market so people that really are not convinced or they have the trust factor are able to get back on giving the people, the right people that are specialized in these things, to be able to have the trust and say, hey, there are so many credible real estates out there. Obviously, you are a trailblazer in the market. There is no question about that. But you still have tons of them coming in. And the people, especially that you mentioned earlier, have trust issues that live abroad in particular, sending money out there, with a bunch of hope and promises that are never fulfilled. What do you think can help that can really trickle down to the Gambian economy and help it for better?
I when we realized the problem, I think the real estate as we formed the real estate association that also had several meetings with the government. And one of the aims of it was to see how the industry could be regulated. Because if you look at it, most of the land sellers today, they're actually selling on credit. So which means that they will take your money and promise to give you something at the end of the day. Sometimes they don't fulfill those promises, which led to customer frustrations and lack of trust. And then we realized that if one real estate company is affected, it indirectly affects the whole industry, which we don't want. So we appeal to the government to come and help us regulate this industry so that we all know what the level playing fields are, the rules and regulations, the do's and the don'ts. In that way, the consumers are protected and the government will be seen as they're doing something to protect its citizens. There have been several meetings, and I think they're in the process of putting something together, which we hope will be sooner or later. But the investment or the economic activities that is related to real estate is massive. Imagine just a farmer selling the piece of land, using that money to now go and buy a tractor and start doing their own gardening and all those things. And then obviously the people that are servicing these properties or these activities also get money in return to do other activities. So when it comes to real estate, it's a driving force for a lot of economies in the world, if not all the economies, because the related activities related to just real estate is massive. And we believe that it's in the government's interest to make sure that it is regulated. It is done in such a way that it will generate more revenue for them and it will be effective for everybody that's involved.
That's amazing, and I must say that I appreciate you sharing your personal story. From raised by a single mom. We bringing all this out for that's the essence of this program, to use folks like you, opinion leaders, in our industry, in our country, to be mentors, to be able to inspire other people out there, to tell a young kid in Gunjur that you can be anything if you work hard for it and set up your mind on it. And there is a potential to be anything. So I really appreciate, because we want this to be a motivation for people to understand that even if you're born with money, if you don't have certain things in mind, you're not going to be able to manage it in a way that it's going to be successful. You're just going to blow it away. But, really working your way through it from $1,500 and an earlier partner who, buckle up and, just left the industry, that you even had to really find ways to supplement and reform that and supplement what you were doing. For me, that's the biggest take out of this whole show. This will transition us down to, why would you say to me, invest in real estate rather than keeping money in the bank, which is secured, it's guaranteed. And but you're telling me, hey, why not invest in real estate? And I'll be like, the market can crash, things can happen, my money is still gonna be in the bank. But when the financial crisis hits and all that, how am I even reselling, or am I able to afford all this? So I just want, this might be questions for tons of people. I'm sure you've come across thousands of people that have tons of money sitting in the bank, probably bank paying them 3%, 2%, and in the case of America, sometimes 1% or even less. Why would someone consider investing in real estate in this sense, especially in Africa?
You know, Abubakar, across the world, it is widely showcased that some of the richest individuals that just happen to own real estate.
Yeah.
They invest strategically in good locations. And this generates fixed income streams over a period of time and enrich themselves even further. So the question most people ask would, how can they get started? Especially when they'll have, no capital or very little capital at all. And in terms of wealth generation, I don't think there's any other industry better than real estate. And these are the questions that we aim to answer on a daily basis by making sure that as long as you've made the decision that you want to invest, we'll have a portfolio available for you from the low income earners or from the low affordable housing, from land purchases or just land investment to luxury investment. So I think in some of the videos I talked about how to start with little or no money at all, and that is just available out there for anybody to get into this industry if you're interested. There's risk in anything or everything that you do, but real estate is one of the most secure ways of generating wealth, not for yourself, but also for your family long term. Because if you put your money in the bank nowadays, they're offering an interest rates of about 3 or 4%, or 5 maybe. Then perhaps when you purchase a property, within a very short period of time, the value goes up, which gives you way higher return than what you would get from the banks nowadays. So real estate investment is a wealth generation, not only for yourself, but for your family at large.
That's interesting. Like I definitely agree. The house that cost 100,000 a year ago, or even 6 months ago, probably is going to cost 50% more, or in some cases more. Just that's just how it is. It's never going to go down. Land is going
Yeah,
to,
a typical example. Typical example is whenever we start our projects. I think we've done a lot of projects in the country. By the time we start the project up to the end, we always realize there's a growth of almost 50 to 60% increment from on the property prices, which just shows that real estate is a lucrative industry, and it keeps booming, and it's way better than putting money in the bank because of the appreciations of the properties that you'll see on a daily basis.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're still having a discussion on the impact of real estate investments in the Gambia. Um, and everything is just going to be centered more on the real estate part of it. And, we will be transitioning in 2 minutes. We will take our first commercial break. And when we come back, we will talk more about now refocusing back on global properties, how you're operating, how you're able to reach out to people, especially in the diaspora, the local people back home in the Gambia, how affordable housing is important to them, what things that they are doing to make housing a little more affordable, especially people back home in the Gambia, and also how they've built a trust um, in the diasporan communities. I've seen folks here that lived here, never even been to Gambia since they immigrated, but they got their properties with you. They're in contact with you, and I've seen some of them have done a successful closings on those investments, and they're happy owners now. They can move. So we have a minute to go on break. So, but my last question before we go on break would be, how did you really build that confidence in the minds of people, especially who lives in the diaspora, to know that you can come through us, as in global properties, to get your investments through on your own house? When you go on vacation, you can sleep there. You don't have your own property. How were you able to work that through? And I'm sure you still would find some challenges along the way to convince some of the folks to say, hey, you can trust us to do this. And I'm sure most of them would just come happier.
I think one of the things that has driven this company forward is through recommendations of other customers that have successfully purchased from us. The referral scheme in our company has been massive. People has been referring us from, when they purchase, or even by just contacting us. Even if you don't have a successful transaction, they're happy with the way that we deal with them. Like you rightly mentioned, we have clients that we've never met, eye to eye or seen them in person. These people have invested in our properties, and in return, we are able to manage these properties for them, as in renting them out, collecting the rental money, and paying into either their local accounts in the Gambia or paid into their overseas accounts. So we provide the full spectrum when it comes to real estate investments or real estate ownership. You don't necessarily have to be in the Gambia to secure your investment or to manage your property for yourself, because we do all those. We have all those solutions in place. The way we've built trust is by making sure that when we say we're going to do something, we do it. When you buy land from us, we prepare the documents for you and send it to you. It hasn't been, some of the project hasn't been like as smooth as we want them to be, because sometimes delay is inevitable, especially when you're not in control of everything. Sometimes you have to wait on the ministry to fix certain things. You have to wait on certain stakeholders to do what they're supposed to do. But by the end of the day, nobody has lost any money with Global Properties since inception, and that has been 14 years from that date to now. So we always make sure that people get what they signed up for, and we look after them to the extent that they in turn go and refer other customers to us. That has been our strength over the years, and we continue to work on those bases to make sure that our customers are happy and satisfied, and they can go and sell further our products and services to their friends, relatives, and colleagues.
What a big achievement. You just to remind you, our viewers, you're still watching Gunjur Live. We having our guest, Saul Frazer, CEO of Global Properties, and we will be taking a commercial break. When we come back, we still have Saul with us, and just get your questions ready. We'll try to answer as many of them as possible.
sama waa ji nag yaa ngi bëgg a yàgg ci dëkk bi sa holiday yi gudd na lool sax vacances yi yàgg na waaye dama ne naa ñibbisi ci sama réew investir wax nga dëgg sa saafara man maa ko yor jógal ñu dem topp ma ci sama waa ji dangaa bëri pexe de topp ma
xam ngeen Gambia léegi dafa open loolu moo waral Global Properties jóg jaay la kër doo manqué courant doo manqué ndox da ngay am pool maanaam piscine sa disposition di nga am beach bi sécurité 24 hours te soo bëggee investir aussi nga mën a investir sa réew jënd kër di ko louer hôtel yi na xam baax na waaye nag am na gan yoo xam ni dañoo bëgg bu ñu ñëwee ci réew nekk à l'aise nekk ci bërëb boo xam ne dinañ am seen waañ bu ñu bëggee togg seen lekku dëkk dañu am seen salle bu mag am seen néegu bopp am seen lépp loolu yëpp ak Global Properties mën na nekk.
jërëjëf def leen ni man ñëw leen Global Properties ngeen jënd seeni kër aar seen ëllëg ak bu seen njaboot.
Welcome back, and you're still watching us on GUNJURBIZ, live on Gunjur TV. Our guest is Saul Frazer, founder and managing director of Global Properties. And our next question will be given to a viewer who asked before, because I'm sure everyone knows that we are biased when it comes to Gunjur, and we always take things there as our babies, and everyone is kind of involved. So the first that was gonna move to your offerings, things that you offer, from property sales, development, and all that kind of things. So my first question would be from Ibrahim Ajane. He asked, what is your plan for your project in Gunjur, and what is your plan contributing to youth development specifically? I know we've talked about some of the things that you engaged in and some of the things you plan to engage in to help the communities and especially youth. Been doing a bunch of activities, helping, speaking to youth, attending programs, events that promote youth development. So, but I will throw that question from one of our viewers to you.
Right. Roger, if you look at our 2-year housing, affordable housing project, we helped develop 200 students from Tujerang, both in electrical work, plumbing, masonry, and these are both male and female workers. This was done in partnership with Skills Center, Gambia Skill Partnership Centers. And it was something that we always envisioned to do. Wherever we go, we try to impact the community that we live in and live with a positive impact. So we're looking to do the same at a greater scale in Gunjur, where we're looking to work with the youth, where we're looking to work with the community and develop the community as it should. Because we wouldn't feel great just to come there and make profit and leave. No, we want to come there and make an impact that is everlasting. For the Gunjur project is something that excites me because for the first time in the history of Gambia, we're working together with the National Environment Agency, who is giving us clearance, environmental clearance, to say that what we're going to be doing there, it's for the green city, smart city, where we don't cut as many trees as we normally do. And when we do, we're obliged to plant, many more trees to compensate for what we're taking out of the environment. So that's one of the aspects. The other aspect is also, as usual, will give you very good value for your money. And we're looking to develop state-of-the-art housing at a very affordable price. Now, we're yet to finalize few things. That's why we haven't come out with the plans and the prices and everything. But be rest assured that it will be affordable as usual and at a high quality with very good prices. But the Gunjur C4 project, we aim to do about 700 affordable housing units, a combination of studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms. And we're even considering, rent to own, different options that would enable people at the lower rank of earning to be able to get their foot onto the property ladder. So there's a lot that needs to be finalized. It's a project to be financed by Shelter Africa. They've already given us our conditional offer letter, and we're working through with them to make sure that all the terms and conditions are met, that would help us do best for the community at large.
I'll just follow that up with another question. I know that you touched on that earlier about some real estate agencies, how it impacted your own business, like how their reputation probably overshadowed it potentially into your business. That was a follow-up question from the same viewer, Ibrahim. So I'll throw that there before we really go to the second half of the interview proper. And just remind us viewers, just to remind you that this program is proudly sponsored by Global Properties, and you can just send in your questions. We want it to be as interactive as possible and not just a typical interview, but just to be able to interact with our viewers, ask questions, and just to put the word out there to as many people as we possibly could.
Yes, the rogue dealers, they will affect us one way or the other, because you don't want to be in an industry where you have unserious or scrupulous dealers, because when you damage the trust of the public, it doesn't only affect them, but it also affects us, because people will then start questioning what we do and how we do things. So ideally, we want the government to come and regulate so that we vet the people that are out there selling properties to do it the right way. In some cases, it's good business for us because it means that our customers will then reassure potential buyers that they've bought securely and confidently without us, without having to go through all the trouble that they would normally go through with other real estate dealers. But in an ideal scenario, we want to have a level playing field where it's clear and the rules and regulations are also clear to help protect the citizens of the Gambia so that people don't lose money buying or investing in real estate.
Interesting point that you mentioned about environment. I'm sure you followed Gunjur's concern on environmental degradation and things of that nature to a level that it's just sometimes not manageable. And you've been taking a proactive measures to make sure that you factor in the environmental benefits and things that could affect our environment into your operations and into your business model by involving the National Environment Agency and all that sort. And I think that's a pretty good, decent step in a very good direction. And I'm looking forward to seeing how you can be more involved in environment because that's a huge concern for people of both Sifo and Gunjur that lived in the same neighborhood, I mean, area. So a quick question on that, which you touched a little bit on, is in the wake of environmental damages around the Gambia and in Gunjur in particular, do you have plans creating artificial a forest, kind of, trees and all those kind of things within and around your estate, just for it to be a little eco-friendly and for people to understand that even though some trees might be cut down, but really environment is being kept alive and people feel that sense of connection to the nature.
Absolutely. Our first priority, our prior objective is to preserve as much as possible. But then if there's lacking, if something is missing, we would obviously try to create it by planting more trees or creating an eco-friendly environment. At the end of the day, the environment is important to all of us, and we all have responsibilities and roles to play. And since we're in the forefront of development, we have to make sure that we take our responsibilities seriously. So it's, again, aligned with our agenda and how we want to do business going forward, not only for our generation, but for the generation of our children and their children as well. So it is a very important subject for us, and we'll do everything that we can to make sure that we all live in a great environment.
Thank you. Just to now going back to the affordability factor, the provision of housing to the Gambian people and the people that lives outside the Gambia or wants to own properties back home in the Gambia or in other parts of Africa. I know if a company is successful, we all want it to be associated with it. And that's where the investment comes in. I'm sure someday me and Saul will come back here and talk about potential investments in different areas, not only in real estate. That's a question that says, are you open to um, selling shares to potential young Gambians that hopefully wants to. I know we have no stock market, but these are possibilities. And do you have any specific, in a very short reply to that? Because I want us to move to the housing market and how people can really get housing, because those are things that are, really of high interest to our viewers as well.
Absolutely. I think we're always open to any form of collaboration as long as it's benefit both the individual and ourselves. There was a time we did a valuation of the company and we were trying to see how to offer shares to the general public. But like you rightly mentioned, there's there's some constraints when it comes to that because due to the lack of a stock market in the country. But I'm sure we can find a way to see how to make it work. So just watch the space, keep your eye on the website and on the social media pages. And if such developments are available, we'll be more than happy to share it with you.
I've always been up to date on your sharings, on your LinkedIn and all the platforms that you use, and I've learned a lot. Just few recent investments like from Upward View and Tujereng Estate. We've seen young people getting properties from there. I personally know tons of people getting properties from these locations, and most recently the Gunjur one. How do you explain to someone who lives in Gambia, doesn't think he is earning enough to get a house of his own or her own, or for a family that doesn't earn enough to the, to a way? How do you really put them in your equation to say, hey, you don't have to be really rich because so many people, like you mentioned earlier, that they just don't think about buying a house in their 20s. They used to wait until 40s, like close to retirement, when these are long-term investments that you really need to do it as early as you can. What things that you're doing, you put in place to make it actually affordable and for the people, like even people who lived abroad might not have that much money that people always think, but they struggle with payments and all those kind of stuff. How is your model like to really make it affordable for people in that bracket?
Bubakar, I think one of the key things to our success at Global Properties is the team that I work with,
Mhm.
and they don't stop. They don't give me a chance for not thinking about how to keep making housing affordable, because it's something that we discuss about every single day in the office. And we also believe that we want our agenda. I think when I came back when I started the business initially, our slogan was own a piece of Gambia, because we want each and every Gambian to own a house in the Gambia. And because of that, we started the land mortgage scheme, whereby we ask people to buy a property, but then you pay by installment. We
Mhm.
were the pioneers of that in the Gambia. And from there, we moved on to building your own homes, and then now affordable housing. We One of the things that we've done is to partner with the local banks, the likes of Trust Bank and EcoBank, and hopefully GT Bank will come on board very soon. And they will ask the individual to put a deposit of 25%, and they will pay the rest of the money to us. We deliver the house, then you can either choose to live in the house or you can rent it out. The repayments some time ago was around about between 20 to 25,000 a month, with a deposit of 30% at that time. So we want to even go lower than that, and make it more accessible and more affordable. That is why the Gunjur project is it's exciting to us, because one of the aims of the project is to get younger generation than we have in Tujereng to get into the property ladder. One of the key things, or one of the ways to secure investment or to start the property investment, is by acquiring land. Recently, we launched a couple of projects where you can enter by just paying a deposit of 50,000, and then the balance you can spread it over 1 year. And these lands are very affordable, because we felt that we haven't done anything of that nature for a very long time, and we wanted to get people on board who were either first-time buyers or people that were looking to just invest or saving money for their kids later on. So we, like I said earlier in the interview, as long as you're a serious investor and you're serious about investing in property, if you contact us or come to our office, we'll sure to have a portfolio that is ready for you and suitable for your needs, because we want to make housing accessible by the majority of the Gambians, and not only for the rich or the higher average earning individuals.
Talking about Gunjur, you know how jealous we are when it comes to that project. Tons of
Yeah,
people will be asking.
yeah,
How not only the affordability factor, because so many
yeah,
people reached out to us, and when we started, playing your adverts and things of that nature, and when it was announced on different platforms that you really uh, about to start a project in Gunjur, C4, in
right.
a very, very strategic location that a lot of, not only Gunjur, but C4 and the surrounding areas. I visited your office a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and it marveled me to see different things that you're doing in different areas of the country to
Right.
be where people are. So people don't have to live in certain areas that they don't really want to live in, and just to be able to own something somewhere that works for you. So I think that's a very, very important thing.
Mhm.
Where the funding is, almost about the project is about to start. How does people really reach out to you to say, "Hey, I want this there. How much is it?" and things of that nature? Where to start it? I know you mentioned that if they contact you and all that, but is it effective immediately? Like if I want to own, because one thing that really sounded really nice to me was rent to own. I think that probably would be the first of its kind in the Gambia. I've never heard it there before.
Yeah,
Would be now some idea for folks that really wanted to rent an apartment and eventually own it. So you say I'm
absolutely.
from Gunjur and I needed one. What do I
Yeah.
do?
Well, we've already started the, the infrastructural work. Just today, I came there. I went there early morning today just to see how well they were doing. The access road from the highway to the development site is being made at the moment, and we hope that in the next 2 weeks it should be completed, so that we'll be able to take people there for viewing and like that. So already we have people that are putting their names down for reservations and paying a small amount so that they can get priority locations. And the office is willing and ready to accept anybody who wants to put their name forward and then put in a reservation fee for one of the units that's going to be available. When it comes to the rent to own, yes, we believe that if we're going to do 700 units, we can take out a chunk whereby we give some people the opportunity to just get into the property ladder. We know how expensive it is with real estate now, and how difficult or how challenging it can be to raise huge amounts of money. But we putting these measures in place will enable some people to get into the property ladder and start their investment journeys or a dream to own a home. So my office is readily available. I think the details will be shared either on this platform, or you can just go to the website, which is www.globalpropertiesafrica.com, and there'll be links there where you can register your interest, and or just contact any of the sales teams in my office, and they'll be able to help you with that.
We want to recognize our followers that one of them says, Abubakar Jani says it's a very interesting conversation, and we are glad that people following and they're asking questions. It's being interactive. One of the key things that you've been really, really vocal and engaged in is to prepare the younger generation in the business, in leadership, in the different kind of different areas of our lives. And that's been a huge focus. And I've seen you on different engagements at schools, at events with a tight schedule. You still manage to pull up and just go for 30 minutes, 1 hour, or even beyond that, which is just amazing that you're able to do that, to be able to inspire, mentor the younger generation to know that they can do even better than you. Um, I know for the communities like Sifo, Gunjur, Berending, Sanyang is still closed, and you're talking of the other surrounding towns and villages that are just about, because Gunjur is a hub. So you're talking of Katong, and you're talking of Sifo, you're talking of Berending, and I forgot the other one, Nyofele at the back. All
Yeah,
those, your location makes it possible for everyone to be part of this. And people that live even beyond that region, that really have a dream of probably having a nice house along a coastal settlement. That would be a nice place to retire, actually. So,
indeed.
yeah. So one of the things people will be asking is what specific things, like something that really interests me is what you mentioned about Tujereng, or was it Tujereng or Sanyang, that you trained young people in the skills that are life skills, about over 200 young people. Do you have similar plans in place to say, hey, this is how it's going to impact this community? The employment opportunities, even people that works in the real estate, or people that work in different trades, that obviously if you need a roof, you need someone to come fix it. If you need plumbing, someone needs to come fix it. Road construction and all that. And I know if projects of that magnitude is in a particular region, you'll see drift of people going, living around that area, and it creates employment for people. Families' livelihoods improves and things of that. What are specific things that you would just economically think would benefit, especially young people in that area, like it did for Tudereng?
It will be similar, but at a bigger scale with Gunju, because in Tujereng we only did 200 houses. Here we're doing threefold that, so the impact will also be threefold. Now, anybody that knows us knows that we're great when it comes to partnership. We're looking to partner with the various communities surrounding the development, where we look at ways and means of how to improve their lives and leave an impact, everlasting impact in the communities that we operate. Whenever we go somewhere, we make sure that we don't just take profit and leave. We make sure that the community recognizes our contribution to the development of the youth and the community at large. Now, other than skills training, creating jobs, building a community, bringing state-of-the-art facilities, we're open to suggestions as well. If there's anybody that thinks that, okay, maybe we can do other things that might impact the community better way, we'll be more than happy to listen and learn. Because what I believe in always, there are people that have their ways and means of doing things, but then the moment they share it with us, if it makes sense to us, then why not? So we're open to listen to suggestions, to listen to what is needed, because sometimes we might have our plans and way of doing things, but with their contribution, we can work on it to make sure that it's adapted to the need of that particular community. So that would be something that we're keen to listen to.
It looked like I'm not the only fan of rent to own. We probably might gonna have a more demand on that. Probably
Right,
there will be a new estate somewhere there that is just specifically for that.
right,
Umaru BI says rent to buy is definitely worth a while, and similar to a similar scheme is going in the UK. Obviously, in America as well,
right,
in most part
right.
of the world, still have these schemes. I know this is something that probably is going to create a new market for
Absolutely.
new investments, for new things, for people to be able
Hmm.
to do certain things. You can have a holiday home and just rent it out. If you prefer to
Absolutely.
spend six months in Gambia, you don't really want to
Hmm.
always go and rent a house for 6 months, right? Why not invest that?
Exactly.
Many
Absolutely.
of us who doesn't have properties will just go and keep renting the same place each time you're going. Imagine the
Right,
tons of money you're spending on that. You're probably paying
right.
someone's mortgage for that.
Yeah, exactly,
uh,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
so that's something the guy Omar who wanted to know the figures. So Omar, you can always jump on
Mhm.
Global Properties website. There will be contact informations in there that you can reach out to them directly. We come with the spirit of sharing knowledge with so and partnering when being one of their partners on the ground, and also to connect them to the communities, to give back to the communities in a way that works for their business and works for the communities. And I appreciate your following. My last
Thank you.
question before we go today, because we're really running out of time. I know we
Yeah.
will not be able to exhaust. My promise was 1 hour, and we almost going
Right.
beyond that mark.
Mhm.
What does Saul do in his leisure? Like, is it always work, work, work? I know you engage with the young people a lot of your free time, doing mentorships, public speaking, motivational speaking, and tons of those. We cannot exhaust that. Um, your community engagements. That is commendable. We appreciate that. People appreciate it that are learning from it, and that people that also benefit from it. What do you do for leisure? Who does Saul? Do you watch sports? What do you do?
Bogar, yes, I'm actually a very big Arsenal supporter, you know?
Well,
So, yeah,
our CEO and the current the chief producer is one too.
indeed, indeed. So, my spare time, I don't have much of a spare time because during the week, obviously, I work with global properties a lot, and then I have other investments that I spend time with. And then in the weekends, I record the videos that I share on YouTube. So I do a lot, but Whenever I find free time, I watch Arsenal play. Nowadays they're doing well. So touch wood. I hope that continues. Other than that, I go out, maybe meet friends, network a lot, read
Yeah.
a lot. I still read a lot, and then yeah, just enjoying the things that I do. I'm in the process of setting up a foundation, so I might as well announce it here. And
Yeah.
it's called the Fraser Foundation. And the aim of this foundation really is to help the youth again. My first year in the foundation, I aim to at least give scholarships to maybe between 5 and 10 students. And then at the same time, do a startup program whereby people will come and pitch for their business ideas, and then I invest into these businesses. But not only invest, but invest, mentor, and guide them through. So we're putting together the processes and everything that is necessary to get the foundation up and running. And once all the paperwork and everything is done, then we can launch the foundation. And I'll be happy to announce it, give you the dates and the information and everything, so we can help promote it. But I enjoy impacting the lives of the youth, because growing up, there was very little to look up to. But I think sharing my story with people that knows that I grew up in Latrikunda and I used to go out there and hunt dicks and play football in the mud, do the things that everybody is doing now,
Yeah.
just makes it more real, and to know that it's possible. And I keep saying that if I can do it with that background, I don't see any reason why any of you out there can do the same as well. So I'm excited. I'm excited with the future and everything that we have going on, with the foundation, the Gunjur project, and just global properties as a whole, and the public speaking journey as well. So these things really excites me, and I can't, stop thinking and wanting to be out there and inspire as many as I can.
Absolutely. This is really in line with whatever we are doing here at Gunjur Online, and we will be more than glad. Congratulations, anyways, and
Thank you.
thank you for doing the announcement here. And we'll be here
Mhm.
waiting. Once everything is done, we'll do our part to put the word out there. These are uh, communities that need help, people that need
Indeed.
help. And like you mentioned to me during our
Yeah,
discussion, some people just need a tap in the back, and some people just
exactly.
need to have someone to tell them, hey, you can do this.
Yeah,
So all
exactly.
those things are things that we really endeavor to do. So the most
Yeah,
fun
and
part of it,
also, yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
also for the, yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
You're good.
I think we're also excited to work with Gunjur Online to see how we can impact the community of Gunjur, especially. It could be anything from sports, literature, culture, competition, anything. And this is something that I'm excited to work with Gunjur Online, and then just see what we can do to impact the community at a greater level. So I hope we can discuss more, on these issues later on and bring it to life as soon as possible.
Absolutely, we will be here along the journey, and to just be rest assured that we will do our part to amplify the impact you're making, and giving back to the communities in different areas. And
Yeah.
yeah, that would just transition us. Oh, by the way, you're getting so many fans on the Arsenal stuff. I don't watch
Oh
the
yeah.
football that much. I don't think I do the past 5 years, but yes.
Yeah.
Is you getting so many love from.
Nice. Nice. Well,
Um,
yeah,
so
definitely.
just the last segment of our program today, we're just gonna be fun questions. I'll just give you two things, and if so, will tell me what he likes. Just
Right.
in case that you have two options in life, what would you choose to be, or what would you
Okay.
choose to do or take? So first one
Okay.
will go as Benachin or Domoda.
Benachin.
Benachin, Gunjur
Yes.
Suhuta.
Gunjur.
Gunjur. I mean, we're gonna get into trouble about this. If there is just two choices for a car or a bike for your lifetime, what would you choose
At this age in my life, I'll go for the bike.
for the bike? Why?
Because I need to exercise and stay healthy. You are what you eat on a daily basis. It's important to stay fit and healthy. In that way, your mind produce better results as well. But if you're just being lazy and sit in the car under the AC, it affects you not only mentally but also physically as well. So I prefer the bike option these days.
In fact, that's the essence of this. We think we can inspire people in little ways.
Yeah,
I think eating healthy, moving around, doing things that are important to just prepares us mentally, physically, and productivity jumps. And there we go. So the third question, a fourth one would be butter or mayonnaise. Not too healthy stuff.
neither of them. But if I have to choose, then I'll go for mayonnaise.
All right. That's
Yeah,
my favorite too. A coffee or
right.
tea?
Tea.
Tea. Why?
Yes.
Is it because of the caffeine?
I the caffeine, it's seasonal, but these days it's a lot of tea,
Tea.
especially the
Okay.
flavored tea, the natural tea, like mbor,
More, more. Yeah.
moringa. Yeah,
Yeah.
those. I'm into those at the moment, so I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Soda or water?
Water,
All right. Radio or TV?
radio,
Radio. Why?
because some of the programs on the radio, especially nowadays, is interesting, to listen to some of the political debates and
Yeah.
their arguments for and against. So
Yeah.
I find it interesting to listen to.
Yeah. And I'll consider podcast as part of radio streams too, and which is
Exactly.
interesting,
Audiobooks,
very
yeah,
educational.
so absolutely.
Yeah. And because I only listen to radio when every time I'm going to work, I listen to radio. Not when I'm coming
Right.
from work, but I think it's just the mood. That morning, you just rush into work. You don't want to listen to too much music, but just
Yeah,
transition into your day and hear some positive things and all those kind of stuff that sets your day up for you.
it does. Getting information on the latest news and what is happening in the country also is important.
Yeah. Dogs
Yeah.
or cats?
Dogs. I have lots of dogs in my house.
Wow.
Uh,
Is it true that dogs and cats do they jubo? Is that true?
yes, the
Uh,
intangible, but then sometimes they find a way to work together if necessary.
exactly. So I think
Yeah,
that's very, very vital. I remember when you mentioned that what makes global properties great is your team of people that
yeah,
keeps pushing you to, provide lower prices for houses, and how the common person on the street is able to acquire houses without having too much difficulties to compromise some of the things that they need on a daily basis. So, it's the nature. If dogs and cats are in one place and they know that we're here to stay, probably they'll find a way of working,
look at
together and
there's
live
a
it.
absolutely there's a lot of work, to a lot of background work that has made what Saul Frazer is today or what Global Properties is today. I could have never ever done this
Mhm.
alone. I have a great team, fantastic people behind me, supporting, pushing me,
Yeah.
pushing the boundaries and making sure that we're what we are today. Maybe I'm blessed to be in the front as a leader, but the team, I can't thank them enough. So you have to have a great team in order to succeed in life. And I
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, it freeze. We are still on GUNJURBIZ show with but I think we got Saul back.
yeah,
All right,
as
so
I was saying that the reason why we see Global and Saul doing all these things that they're doing, it's because of the great team that is behind it. I could have never ever done this, without the team, and they're ever supporting and ever so willing to be out there and just help me shine. I'm the leader. I'm happy to be the leader, and I'm blessed to be, the leader. But without the team, I would not have been who I am today. So I thank them very much for their support and their continuous effort, and the togetherness that we have to be able to forge forward and conquer more areas.
You cannot tell Gunjur's history without mentioning fish. Um, so I'll go. The final one will be fish or beef.
Fish,
Fish. Why?
yes, yeah. It's healthier. I love seafood a lot. I'm not a beef person, so I rarely eat that. I don't eat much of rice either, so I eat a lot of fish and salad and the like. So definitely fish.
So that brings us to the end of that segment. I have one more, before I go to my final question. I have one more comment that I wanted to read to you. It says, when you say global properties Africa, in how many African countries do you operate in? I know I mentioned this earlier during the intro, but it would be nice to get Saul to give us an insight, a brief insight on where your business operations are at the moment in Africa.
Currently, we're in Gambia, Senegal, and Ghana. If you followed some of the things that we do, you'll realize that we recently signed an MOU with the African Leadership magazine.
Mhm.
And one of the aim of that MOU is to expand our presence in Africa. So we're looking to do at least 2 to 3 countries in Africa within the next couple of years. So we're excited about this journey because we've already put our stamp in these countries, and we just want to see how to replicate it better and faster in the other countries that we're looking to penetrate.
It's definitely going to be exciting and a success to see a locally owned business going international.
Right.
Just putting their mark on all these markets, bigger markets, more competitive like than Gambia, and be able to work there, operate successfully in a way that only global properties can do. Um, that brings me to the last part of my question. And this really goes takes you back to young people, inspiring business people, inspiring speakers, or aspiring uh, business guys who wants to venture into business or want to do something meaningful. I was watching one of your video, and you were just trying to give tips on how to find your purpose in life. So just a general 5 point on potential investors or doubters. You mentioned that stop procrastinating. What would be the 5 points that you would tell someone who you have 10 seconds with, or 30 seconds, or a minute with, that you don't have enough time to talk to them, but you want to give them 5 key points that they can take with them for the rest of their lives? That would translate into being a business model or a life skill that helps them to grow something that is big and that helps everyone.
The first thing I'm going to share is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you are now, at what stage in your life you are, whether you have an education or whether you don't, whether you have money or you don't, or whether you feel that you're blessed or not. What is important or what matters is what your next decision is going to be. Think about this properly. What is the next decision that you're going to take? That is what matters the most. You could be somewhere where you're on the ground, you can't get up anymore, you've lost everything, or you just don't know where to turn to. But this next question can help you change your life. The second thing I'm going to say is there's also one thing that can be the difference between success and failure, and that is the way you think and the way you see things. You can see things in 2 ways. One, you can always see obstacles, doubts, negativity, or you can just choose to see opportunity in every single situation. This is something that can also change your life tremendously. A lot of people think about negativity, think about all these things that is stopping them from doing what they ought to do or what they want to do. But by thinking positively and looking at opportunities rather than obstacle, you can change your life for the better. The third thing I want to share with you is keep educating yourself. Keep studying, keep driving, keep learning, keep believing in yourself, because you are the center of everything, and you and only you can change your life, and it's only you that can improve and impact your life. Because if you start, then others will believe in you and they will follow your path. The fourth thing I want to share with you is to believe that everything is possible. Do not limit yourself. Why would you limit yourself? You are one of a kind. There's no one like you. And because of that, you are capable of doing everything that you set your mind onto. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, fellows, friends, colleagues, whoever is out there, make sure you take action. You can prepare yourself mentally, physically, everything in life. But if you don't take action, nothing takes place. Nothing happens. So make that decision today, take that action today, and do something about what you want to do. It could be a lifelong dream. It could be something you've been wanting to do for a very long time, procrastinating and all that. But please take action and just do something about it. On that note, I thank you all for listening, and thank you for Gunjur Online for the opportunity to share my story and these thoughts I have in mind. And I hope to see you again.
Hope to see you again, Saul. Thank you so much for joining us. And the final word is take action. Tons of people go to school, get educated, have degrees, and all that. But I think what sets successful people apart is how to implement what they learn, something out of it, something better, something greater, not really the theoretical aspect of it, but how you're able to practicalize and make things better for you. On that note, we thank you so much for for respecting and coming on Gunjur Online and bearing with us for beyond 1 hour. We must tell you we're thrilled to tell and announce to our viewers that we are proudly partnering with Global Properties for the foreseeable future, at least in a very long time for now. And then we are so happy that they are the sponsor of GUNJURBIZ, which is a business talk show that comes on Gunjur Online every Saturday. And we're having Sunday due to some of the circumstances. And next Saturday, too, we'll be back here. In the meantime, Saul, anytime you have a few minutes you want to come and share with us, I'm sure we'll be more than happy to have you. And thank you so
Yeah,
much for your partnership and your time. Your final word to say goodbye.
thank you. Well, this is my home now, and I feel at home already. So get used to this face and the voice, because you'll be seeing me more often. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you want to know more about Global Properties, go to their website, call them, send them email, reach out to anyone that you can. If not, you can always reach out to us. We will link you through. There are a bunch of excitement things that they are really undertaking and the things that they are doing for the community. That's the reason why we partner with Global Properties, and they're the proud sponsor of GUNJURBIZ on Gunjur Online. That comes your way every Saturday. And we will be announcing tons of things from Global Properties and from other businesses. Global Properties already have opened doors for, to help even other businesses, to help people, prepare young people, the community engagements that's going to help young investors, struggling investors, people that really need to see purpose in what they're doing, how to mold and help them to be progressive, to help them to be successful in whatever they're doing. We're thrilled to be back here, and we will see you next Saturday. That's your famous Gunjur Biz show on Gunjur Online. I am your host, Abubakar Jame. Till next Saturday, and I'll see you again. It's all about business. Let's get it going. Bye bye.
The locations, the design, the materials used, all the way down to the latest details, are few of many things that we focused on when we envisioned the airport residency. As proud innovators of community estates, the airport residency in Old Yundum, a project by Swami India International, offers unique gated community with 3 and 4 bedroom villas and duplexes. Just 5 minutes away from the Banjul International Airport. Luxury, convenience, and accessibility are some of the reasons you should consider this great housing opportunity. With a clubhouse, a playground, access roads, and parking facilities available for your dream home or a valuable investment, you will find all you need at Airport Residency here in Old Yundum.